All right, so good morning, everyone. As Ogden introduced, my name is Mary, and I was a GIS intern for Neighborhood Services this summer. And so essentially my project for the summer was to create some user-friendly GIS maps for the residents of Manatee County. Because as we know, GIS can be a little confusing, and it doesn't always use the best terminology. So I wanted to make that user-friendly. So the first thing I needed to determine was what was the need? What kind of maps would really benefit our county? So the first thing I decided was we should be really highlighting some of our local businesses. Sometimes you don't really know the amenities that are surrounding you in a neighborhood, and you don't need to be necessarily clogging up the streets or driving 25 minutes over to Sarasota or this or that, just really utilizing your local businesses. I wanted to highlight the requested current and pending capital improvement projects so that nobody has to pick up a phone to call to see, hey, one of those lights going to be in. I can show they're active, requested, completed, or pending. Also, I wanted to conduct a transportation analysis. As we've heard, transportation is a major issue in Manatee County. The streets are constantly clogged up, we have accidents here and there. I wanted to look into that. And then I also wanted to make a historical connection, because one thing we're really trying to do in Manatee County is create placemaking and really make a connection to an area. And I think that's a really inexpensive way to do that. And knowing the history of an area makes you respect that area. So the steps that I went through to complete this, the first thing I did was attend some Back to the Future meetings with Neighborhood Services and really talk to some of the residents and see what their complaints were, what they were happy with, and what I should be highlighting. I needed to determine which neighborhoods would really benefit from that and where we would benefit from as well. I needed to create connections with staff because in a way, sadly, GIS, in order to get information, you have to know someone. So in order to get data, I have to talk to this person over here and this person over here, and I gotta email 3 more people. And then I also needed to scan and search for historical necessities. So I spent a little bit of time over in the Eaton room, over at the library, really got to know Pam and just really enjoyed developing that historical connection. Lastly, I created a story map template so that we can do this in the future in a streamlined process. So why does this matter? So for residents, it really shows that Manatee County cares. Their complaints are mapped out. They can see everything that they're saying right in front of them. So as I said, they know where their complaints and money are going because I can show the price of how much it is to put that sidewalk in. Number 3, we can make connections to those historical landmarks. So I've created a map, as you'll see, of just some of the landmarks in a couple of the neighborhoods that I highlighted. And then they can also compare their neighborhood because every neighborhood has their own specific issues and as well as positives. And so they can look in the big picture, okay, yes, maybe Parish has this issue, but if we look over in Bayshore Gardens, they have this issue. And it really brings that perspective. We're all working together as a county and they can see that. So what did I run into for my issues for creating these maps? One thing that I had issues with, as I may have lightly mentioned earlier, was we have this great spatial database engine. However, people don't use it that much. So a lot of the information is outdated, and sometimes it isn't correct. There's a project that says is ongoing on there, and it's not. So it's a great tool, but we have to use it, and we have to make sure that information is up to date. Another issue was the attribute tables. So we have these great attribute tables with each location on the map. You can say, okay, yeah, there was an accident here, it was in this location, etc. But a lot of times those attribute tables are missing information all over the place. So there's all these character fields, and I would look at them and be like, I wish I could analyze this, but it's not here, so it just says null. So I think, I'm not saying that people are cynical, and I don't think it's on purpose, but it's just an easy, lazy thing to do is just to not put the information in. And then lastly, there are different formats that people are using. So like I'm using a shapefile in the GIS desktop. And then, for instance, Michael sent me sidewalks during the summer, which was amazing because our sidewalks were not updated. However, when I went to transfer those, they lost a lot of information. And they lost a lot of, you couldn't tell what the symbology was. And looking at his, there's no way that he would be able to tell that. It's just the transfer process wasn't great. So we need to work on all being in the same format in order to utilize all of our data. So lastly, through those issues, this is my result. So I did a Bayshore Gardens template. I am working on a few others right to the wire, working on Samoset and Parish right now. So this is the template. I utilized all pictures from our lovely historical digital image collection at the library. So here's just a quick snippet. We won't go through all of it because we don't really have the time. If the mouse wants to work. Do you want to try and move closer to the actual computer? We had this problem yesterday, but we were able to suffer through. So the first thing that I started to do is the history, and then right below it, doing great. So this is actually one of my favorite widgets, so you can actually swipe this back and forth. I won't put her through trying to do that right now. That was, all right, so it was 1973, and then we also had 2017 aerials. So you were able to swipe back and forth. You could actually type in any address in Manatee County and see what it looked like then. And then I also did historical pop-ups throughout. So you can click, if you're in the Samoset neighborhood, you can click on those and see, okay, this business has been here forever. Like, I want to go there and I want to see what it's like. So those are just a few of those. And then down here was that transportation analysis that I did. So I went through quite a few different maps to determine which I wanted to highlight. This was the pedestrian fatalities in Bayshore. Yeah, and I'm looking at it now in front of all you lovely people, and I might use a different symbology. Anyway, but this was a major correlation that I found. So in Bayshore Gardens, every single pedestrian fatality that has occurred that is in our database happened at an uncovered bus stop. And I don't know if that's a coincidence, I don't know if it's just a correlation, but it could be worth looking into. And I felt like that was very striking. This is a little too striking, so I will fix that. I can edit this, and it's not live to the public yet, so anyway.
Charge for covering the bus stop.
So this was another much more positive map. So I wanted to look at why the ridership was so low in Manatee County. As we know, that's a major issue. A lot of people aren't really using the buses except for one major route. So this was just a simple map just highlighting, okay, we are connected to all of our largest employers in Manatee County. So that's a really great thing. So I wanted to show a negative and a positive, and I will make the negative less negative. So here is some of the capital improvement projects. I do have these as a static map right now, but I will be making those live so people can click through. I'm almost done with that. So this is just some of the sidewalk improvement projects. Bayshore Gardens really cares about their sidewalks. So I wanted to make their own separate map that shows requested, pending, active, and completed. And then here's just the overall CIP maps. So you can see that's maybe a light or resurfacing, and you'll be able to click and see how much was that, and whether it's requested, pending, active, or completed. And then the last thing I did was just connectivity to businesses in the area. So you're able to click through, this is just Bayshore Gardens for instance, you can see, okay, we have a lot of options for restaurants, and then if you click to the next one, you can see this is our pharmacies, health and wellness, schools, churches, each of those you can click on and see more information, and then here's our last one. So this is just a kind of streamlined, simple template that I think people in this neighborhood would really enjoy, and it really helps us as well, because we do have our neighborhood meetings, and if someone can't come to the meeting, we can say, okay, you can look online and you can see how your neighborhood's doing. This is what we're working on. Or if we have to cancel the meeting, or for whatever reason it is. It's just a really great way to inform people and make sure that they know that they're cared for. So thank you very much. I really, really enjoyed this opportunity this summer, working in the Neighborhood Services Department, which I did not know at the beginning what existed at the beginning of the summer, so I'm learning. And it really just highlighted that the county really does care, and that someone is at the end of the front line.